Hey guys, this is Kristen from KristenCoaching.com. In this video, we're going to be discussing relationship anxiety symptoms, and I'm really excited to be exploring this topic with you today because this is something that we all know about. Whether we ourselves have relationship anxiety, we at least definitely know somebody out there that has relationship anxiety. It's something that's so rampant in our society and socially. Like, we know a lot of people that have this, but we don't really put the label on it. So I'm really looking forward to covering this topic with you today. I have a ton of really good information about what exactly relationship anxiety is, who does it affect, what are the relationship anxiety symptoms, which is going to be really important for you guys to spot this for many reasons. So we'll go into that. And then what to do once you identify that either you have relationship anxiety or somebody you know has it as well. So I'm really excited. So we're just going to dive right into it, and feel free to, I definitely suggest you stay tuned all the way to the end of the video. And if you need to rewatch it over and over again to have it all soak in, that's totally fine. I think that'll be good for you guys because you're going to be learning a lot today. Also, I want to remind all of you to please subscribe to my YouTube page if you haven't already. You'll get notifications every time I get a new video. And if you comment on any of my videos, I will definitely write you back as soon as possible and give you some answers to whatever questions you have. So let's talk about what is relationship anxiety in general. Basically, it has to do with anybody having an extreme sense of worry or fear or doubts, just pretty much like negative or scary emotions around relationships, essentially. And like I said, we all know that one person out there, or maybe multiple people, who have struggles being in committed long-term relationships. They hop from person to person to person. When things start to get too intense or too complicated or too intense, essentially, people eventually want to bail and they want to get out, and they do get out. This video is to be able to recognize, again, what this is and how to deal with it. Because at the end of the day, I think we all really want to find that love and connection with somebody else. We're human beings and we're meant to connect with other people. And it really does make me sad when there's so many people out there so desperate to want to find love and they want it really bad, but they don't know how to hold on to it. And that is also somebody who has relationship anxiety wants love, and they do. So that's why they're out there. They're putting themselves out there. They're dating, they're meeting new people, and they form these relationships. And then again, when something gets a little too much for them, maybe when feelings start to come up and real emotions start to build, it's like this, and then they feel worried, they feel scared, they feel anxious, they feel all the negative, scary things, and then they bail. Okay, so that's basically what relationship anxiety looks like. And it's really important to spot this right away so you can deal with it early on. We don't want to continue to have relationship after relationship after relationship that doesn't go anywhere, right? We want to get that deep sense of connection with that one person that we love forever, and that's ideally what we want. We want to share our lives with other people. We want to be happy. We want to be in healthy, happy, committed relationships. I mean, that's ultimately what people want. And it's really hard for people definitely struggling with this situation. So we're going to bring light into it. I want to also validate, before we kind of dive into who relationship anxiety affects, I want to validate the fact that so many people have this, and it's not an abnormal thing. You might feel weird if you have it. You might feel like, I'm just unlucky in love. I just can't find somebody. And that's not it. You're not the only person out there. There's so many people, and there's so many reasons why people struggle with this, which we're also going to talk about. So we'll dive into it all, okay? So basically, who does relationship anxiety affect in general? Honestly, basically it affects anybody who is looking for a loving, committed relationship with somebody else. So it can be anybody out there looking to find love that's who it can affect. Men, women equally. I have definitely seen women have this. I've seen men have this. It pretty much manifests in the same way where, again, they date people and they date for a little bit, emotions start to come up, feelings start to grow, and then something happens where it just ends, eventually. And so nobody is immune to this. So again, that's why I'm validating that everybody is susceptible to this type of a situation and this type of a fear. So we're going to bring light into it. Okay, so let's just dive in right away to the relationship anxiety symptoms, because this way you can spot if you are experiencing this or you know somebody who is, and you can even educate that person like, hey, I think you have anxiety going on, and this is what I see, so let's talk about it, let's work on it. Okay. So basically the symptoms have to do with any type. It can be like a behavioral symptom or an emotional change during the course of the relationship. So it's either behavioral stuff that's going on for them or emotional stuff that's going on for them. So the first thing has to do with basically if you're having a symptom, it has to do with like a feeling of being hurt, a fear of being hurt. That's one of the relationship anxiety symptoms. So we're so worried of putting ourselves out there and being emotionally vulnerable with the other person that thought in general is so terrifying that person doesn't even want to do that. To be emotionally exposed and to be able to be 100% yourself with somebody and be real, that's scary, because you are taking the risk that you could be hurt eventually by that person. Because let's be real, not all relationships work out. Most of them don't actually, until you find that one person, right? So people having relationship anxiety and relationship anxiety symptoms, they feel really, really scared, and it's this internal dialogue that they have, like, oh my God, I'm gonna be hurt by this person. I can't do this. I don't even want to. So they get scared and they stop it. They stop it all. And it's easier to do that than to continue down this road that feels really uncomfortable. So a fear of being hurt. And then also along with the fear of being hurt, there is a fear of intimacy and connection with somebody else. And in the same way of the fear of being hurt, it's similar, because if you have a fear of intimacy, right, you're vulnerable, you're physically vulnerable with somebody, you're expressing, who you are in a physical sense, and you're putting yourself out there. So you are risking being hurt. In that type of a situation too. So they kind of go hand in hand. So anybody who's afraid of intimacy. Also, relationship anxiety can manifest in a kind of a more of a behavioral thing where people get really clingy in relationships. They start to just cling on to that other person, and they want to hold on to them and hang out with them all the time, and that they're with them 24/7. I know you have friends who are like this, or you have done this yourself. But basically, you don't want to lose the relationship so bad that you become so needy towards your significant other, and you want to keep that hawk eye like right on them so they don't go anywhere, right? And it ultimately has to do with you're scared that they're going to go. So if you're with them 24/7, well, they can't go anywhere because you have them in your vision, right? So that's more of like a behavioral thing. Also, just like an emotional fear of like an emotional distance is another symptom of relationship anxiety. So it's basically, you're not connecting on like this deep emotional level. And again, because sometimes when we express ourselves, right, and we tell people who we are at the core of our hearts and the core of our souls, you ultimately could be setting yourself up to be able to expose the deep, darkest secrets that you have, and somebody says, this relationship isn't working out, bye. And that can be really hurtful and really, really hard. We want people to validate our experiences. We want people to love us, right? We want people to be there for us, especially when we have expressed hard times or we're going through hard times. So it's common that people just kind of become emotionally distant and they feel kind of disconnected from their partner or from their significant other in relationships. And that can be really frustrating for the person who doesn't have the relationship anxiety, the person who is, I don't want to say the victim of relationship anxiety, but the other half who doesn't have it, because that other half desperately wants to connect with you, and you're going like this and you're saying no, essentially. Also, another symptom can be an abnormal jealousy. You don't want to get hurt so bad, right, that you become really, really paranoid that your significant other is going to be leaving you for somebody else. Because I think we all have that fear on some type of a level, right? We don't want to be left. We don't want to be, left alone, especially because somebody's found somebody better. It can manifest in actual panic attacks where people get so much in their heads about how they're feeling about the other person and what this means. And again, this fear of being vulnerable in the relationship. So people actually have physical panic attacks when they start to have and develop emotions for the other person. And then also the last thing in terms of a relationship anxiety symptom to just pay attention to is the anger that people have towards their significant other. This is kind of an interesting one because it's a way of like testing your person that you're dating to see if they're going to go anywhere. Because again, you want to be the one who ends the relationship over something and you don't want them to end the relationship, right? It's kind of like, oh, I broke up with him first. He didn't break up with me. So in a way, getting mad at somebody and starting fights can be a sign of somebody struggling with this because they kind of want to do that push away thing to see if somebody is actually going to be leaving them. And if they do leave them, it's like, oh, well, they left me because they were a jerk or whatever, right? And instead, they didn't leave me because I had issues. No. They left me, or they went away because they're just not, they're bad. They're a bad person. They're not for me. It's kind of like this, head game that people, play with themselves, and it makes themselves feel better. So it's like this testing kind of a thing. Are you going to leave me? Or are you not going to? And if you do leave me, you were a jerk anyways, so I don't need you in my life. So totally important to just pay attention to that. And I think, it's really good to know why people get relationship anxiety in the first place. It could be a lot of reasons. A lot of people have their hearts broken in previous relationships. I would say that's a really, really common one. And people put themselves out there and they're so vulnerable with that love that they had, and then it ended up in heartbreak, and it can be really scary to kind of get back out there and expose yourself on that deep level that you did before. So having a really bad breakup beforehand can manifest in a relationship anxiety. Also, sometimes like growing up with parents who really don't demonstrate a healthy relationship. If you've had parents that are fighting with each other every day and there's so much hostility and resentment towards them, and you're a little child and you're seeing that dynamic, you're kind of like, you're internally learning, I don't want to be in that situation. Like love is bad. Love is mean. Love is unhealthy. Love equals pain. So when people become an adult, that's those, subconscious kind of meanings that they put behind love. So if you have a rough, kind of childhood in terms of who your role models were and their type of a relationship, that can really impact your relationship when you become an adult. So the good news is there is a way to manage relationship anxiety. There is a way to work through it. It doesn't mean that you are doomed forever and you're never going to find love. I think the most important thing is that you recognize it in the first place, because let me tell you, so many people don't even know that they're experiencing this. They don't. It's actually a lot of like almost subconscious types of, behaviors and emotions that they're having. They don't know the root of it. And so once you at least know that that's what's going on for you, that can be a huge release emotionally, because at least you're able to tackle it, once it comes to light. And so it's really important to be able to trust in your relationship. And again, that is hard to do, but if you trust in your relationship and you trust in yourself that you're a strong person and you're going to be okay, no matter what type of environmental factors or relationship factors come to you, you are going to be okay. You are a strong person. And that helps eliminate some unnecessary worry, because really at the end of the day, having relationship anxiety symptoms is unnecessary worry in the relationship that doesn't need to be there. So you have to trust that you are going to be okay no matter what, and that sometimes you don't have control over the outcome of relationships. And we have to just take that step and take that leap and know that we are strong and we're going to be fine no matter what happens. And you have to really trust that and have faith in yourself. Also, I really think going and getting some professional support is really important as well, because you can learn some tools on how to be able to be in a relationship, develop emotions for somebody, and manage these kind of irrational thoughts, and tone them down so they're not so loud in your mind and you're not so worked up and fearful over this process. Because the more we're kind of distracted and focus on these negative things of what's going to happen in the future, or these negative feelings of what I'm currently going through, we miss out on all the positive things that are happening in the relationship. And a lot of times there's a lot of positivity and a lot of great things. So that's what we want to focus on. We want to focus on the good, wonderful things, and that helps calm down that irrational, worried, anxious piece for you. So getting, some type of a relationship coach, or even doing like one-on-one individual therapy can sometimes be helpful. So there are options that you can do. And again, I think the most important thing is just knowing what it looks like and that you have the power and control to fix it and be able to have that happy, healthy, long-term relationship that you want so bad. Because you deserve it, and we all deserve it. So if you're having struggles in this category, do something about it. Because if you don't, you're going to keep going from relationship to relationship to relationship without being completely fulfilled. Also, I think it's important to be able to be honest with your person that you're dating about what you're going through. Sometimes having that support and that other person at least knowing that you're having a hard time, putting yourself out there and being vulnerable, a lot of times that can at least increase that sense of understanding between you guys, and your other half can actually know how to support you instead of thinking that, oh my God, the person I'm with has maybe some issues and I don't know what to do about it. But if they know the root of the issue, then they'll be able to support you in the way that you want them and that you're going to need them to support you in order for you guys to continue having a healthy relationship. So I think honesty is key. And before you're honest, you need to know what is going on with you first, and then you can be able to communicate that to the other person. So I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope we, shed some light on the situation. Again, if you're going through it yourself, it's important to know what that's about and, what you can do about it. And if you know somebody, you can start educating them about what they're going through and tell them to watch this video. Okay, so you guys feel free to comment below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'll see you guys next time for my next video. It was good talking to you. Bye.